What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television here live on I Love St. Pete, the hub and Amped Up Sports. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And we are on the eve of free agency. And all the talk has been lately Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater, but make no mistake at all at this point. There's one quarterback that's only going to quarterback the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that is Tom Brady. According to his Twitter and multiple sources, this is what Brady has to say. These past 2 months, I realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates. I love my supportive family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa. Unfinished business. LFG. There you go. That solves the quarterback conundrum, if you will. Right? Brady, of course, a couple months ago, it seemed like he retired, but he really never officially retired, did he, ladies and gentlemen? He always said the door was left open, and now it seems like after he traveled overseas to watch Manchester United and talk to the Glazers, here we go. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Happy Monday. Free agency is upon us. It's the Sports Web live here on the I Love St. Pete platform, the hub, and of course, Amped Up Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. How do we start off this show as I'm trying to rush myself because we're on lunch right now. So we'll stay on to probably 120, 125, maybe take a couple phone calls. Bring the passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. And we talked about Tom Brady coming back for his 23rd year last night. Of course, Ryan Jensen about midnight re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we said there would be some losses. And sure enough, there is. Today, the Cincinnati Bengals, well, they have a guard now by the name of Alex Kappa, 4 years, $40 million, drafted in the third round in 2018, played all 17 games last year. So once again, this is to be expected, ladies and gentlemen, because it is the opening day, if you will, the legal tampering process of free agency. So Alex Kappa gone. So the Bucs, they re-signed Aaron Stinney over the weekend. They got Ryan Jensen back. They couldn't bring everybody. So now they couldn't bring everybody back. So now you have to figure out what you're going to do at the guard situation. Are the Bucs going to address that in free agency? Or are they going to draft somebody, say a Zion Johnson at number 27 from Boston College? So let's go out, read the comments. We got more things to report here. Very cool. Thank you, Tammy. And Tammy Freed right there. Let me give you the Ric Flair. Woo! Appreciate you as always. Let's go out to Reginald. Kappa is gone. Absolutely, he is gone. And hey, Peter, let the frenzy begin. Not only is that going on, but I want Bucs fans to ponder this. The Browns are releasing wide receiver Jarvis Landry. That cuts 14.9 cap down for the Browns. Of course, they only have about 1.5 in dead money, but the reason why I would say that is because the Bucs are looking for a third wide receiver. Now, talk is that Landry could be going to the Tennessee Titans, reunited, and it feels so good with his former quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. Of course, you have A.J. Brown there, Julio Jones. Landry's best year was in 2019, 83 passes, over 1,000 receiving yards with 6 touchdowns. In 12 games last year, he had 52 catches, 570 for 2 touchdowns. So we'll see if that's somebody the Bucs would be interested in. Of course, the 5-time Pro Bowler started out his career with the Miami Dolphins. Other signings today on this legal tampering opening day of free agency. Emmanuel Ogba, defensive end for the Miami Dolphins, 4 years, $65 million, $32 million guaranteed, 9 sacks each of the last 2 years. Ogba on his 67 starts, 36 sacks, 85 quarterback hits, 37 tackles for loss, 7 forced fumbles. The Dolphins also signed running back Chase Edmonds, who spent his time last year with the Arizona Cardinals, to a 2-year deal. Pay attention to this, because this could be the market right now for Leonard Fournette, and we don't know if Leonard Fournette's going to come back yet. That's the question. Is Leonard Fournette going to get signed? Is it going to be Chris Godwin who gets a long-term extension to free up that money? We shall see. But the numbers are as follows. 2 years, $12.6 million, $6.1 million guaranteed. In 11 starts for Edmonds, 116 carries, 592 yards, along with 43 catches and 311. Kind of on the same par as Leonard Fournette, right? So maybe that is your market at this point. Is that too much for the Bucs? We shall find out here pretty soon. Let's go out to Arizona, as after they lost Chase Edmonds, they re-signed James Conner, 3-year deal, 18 touchdowns last year. He signed a new 3-year deal today, 752 yards rushing, 375 yards receiving. They also re-signed Zach Ertz, tight end. The Houston Texans re-signed former Buccaneer tight end Antonio Eclair. Deshaun Watson, the quarterback that possibly the Bucs could have had if they didn't get back the greatest of all time in a Tom Brady, will be meeting with respective teams in the next 48 hours, namely the Panthers and the Saints. So that's big news. If one of those teams gets them, of course, they're going to have to give up multiple draft picks. And on top of that, not only draft picks, but possibly players. So that's why it's so important for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to replenish that defense, which brings me to my next point here. Is Zadarius Smith from the Green Bay Packers was cut. $15 million in cap room created by the Packers. Of course, missed 16 games last year with a back injury, so he may be able to come cheap depending on what the Bucs do with a JPP at that point. Because, of course, he's coming off an injury in his 2 seasons with the Packers, 26 sacks right there. Let's see. And I think that's about it at this point. So we'll go ahead and take some phone calls as always. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Welcome to Free Agency. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Christopher Cole says Steelers sign Trubisky, so that could be their new starting quarterback right there. Didn't get the terms on that, but we will have that on the sports web, 9 o'clock. If something happens earlier than that, we may do an early edition of the sports web. Just keep on watching here on I Love St. Pete, the hub, and of course, Amped Up Sports. I still think either Carolina or Seattle ends up getting Deshaun Watson. And the key is, look, yes, Seattle has, of course, the draft capital, but if you're Watson, you have a no trade clause. So do you really want to agree to go to the Seahawks with what they're giving up there? It seems like they're in a rebuilding effort, so I'm not sure. Carolina, that's certainly possible. But if you give up McCaffrey, are you a better team? Are they going to be a better team in that division? I'm not so sure about that. Ben also says Devontae Adams says he won't play under the tag from reports I saw, and that's the reason why you see some of the cuts, not only Zadarius Smith, but also Billy Turner. So right now the Packers are kind of scrambling with that shocker that Davante Adams is not going to play under his franchise tag. Let's go out to I Love St. Pete's comments. Yaz says, let's go, bring your passion. We lost Kappa. And Kyle Nicole says, got to see what happens with Adams in Green Bay as well. Let's go back to what happened last night with Tom Brady coming back, and this is in care of Pewter Report. Jeff Darlington was asked about the Brady stuff, and he said he didn't explore the possibility as far as I understand it. I've had conversations with people close to Brady and people with the organization. He was committed to playing with the Bucs if he was going to play in 2022. He was still in contact with them and still having conversations with the Bucs organization about personnel stuff. So this was not a scenario where Brady was saying, if I come back, maybe I'll go talk to San Francisco or whatever. This was going to be the Bucs or bust. Let me say it again. There was not a scenario, Bucs fans or NFL fans alike, where Brady was saying, if I come back, maybe I'll go talk to San Francisco or whatever. This was going to be Bucs or bust, and ultimately that's what he decided. Of course, Light made the statement that we'll leave the light on for you. Always love that. Darlington also goes on to say, also, he had a commitment from the organization all along. You have to give credit to Jason Light, the general manager. He could have been quick to turn the page, but he said it himself. I'm going to leave the light on. He knew it. He felt it from Brady himself. I think he deserves credit for leaving things in place just in case Brady made this very decision. So it kind of closes that door, doesn't it? That he was trying to have a graceful exit from the 49ers. Yeah. Jason Light had this to say last night on Brady coming back. We are thrilled to have Brady back this season. We said we would leave all the options open for him should he reconsider his retirement. And today's announcement is something we have been preparing for in recent days. Wow. Bruce and I have had plenty of conversations with Tom recently that led us to believe there was a realistic chance he would want to come back. Tom is the greatest quarterback of all time who is still playing at an elite level. You think? 43 touchdowns last year. With this decision now made, we will continue to move forward with our offseason plans to reload this roster for another championship run. Not rebuild, reload. I love it because everybody was saying rebuild. They're not rebuilding. They're reloading. They're going for it. They may have some losses today. Again, they lost Alex Kappa to the Cincinnati Bengals, in case you didn't hit the news. 4 years, $40 million. Let's go out to Ron. Ron, welcome to the Evolution. Quickly, my friend, I got to get back to work here. Go ahead.
Hey, Pete, man. I just wanted to say good afternoon, and just to kind of leapfrog off of the great news that we got. It's another happy day here in Tampa Bay. And we're going to see what we're going to do. Looking forward to the draft. So just wanted to get your quick feelings on Zion Smith and Vrabel's son. They look like they're pretty good offensive linemen. So those are some options in the draft, Pete. And,
I would say Zion Johnson from Boston College. That's a guy that definitely the Bucs will be interested in, depending on what they do in free agency. Of course, they re-signed an Aaron Stinney. They re-signed a Ryan Jensen. So they have two parts of their offensive line back, very important parts. I think they were very fortunate to get Jensen back at $13 million. With that being said, let's say they could lose a Carlton Davis. Maybe they take some of those funds, and you would hope that they can, redo the contract of some of these players on this team. I think they're prepared for that. Maybe they go out there and get a Brandon Sheriff from the Washington Commanders at this point. Right off the top of my head, I don't know the guards that are going to be free agents, but I can look that up and give you more info on that. But I say, sure, the offensive line has to be a focus. It's always a focus with this team because you have to protect Tom Brady. You saw what would happen last year if he didn't do that versus the Rams. They really made this offensive staff pay dearly. And the offense was out of sync, especially that first half. So it'll be very interesting to see where the Bucs go at this juncture if they go after another offensive lineman or if they wait until number 27. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, Pete. So hey, man, good job. Always good to see you, buddy. Best in the Bay. Hey, everybody, bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense, because Mr. Peter Blake has the best show on earth, and he's going to let you know right away.
Appreciate
right
it.
Here on the Sports Web.
Appreciate it. That's it. That's it.
Right,
thank you very much. I appreciate you, buddy.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Your check is in the mail. As always, good stuff there. We got some updates coming in right now off of my phone, and that's not free agency. Oh, we did get the Mitchell Trubisky stuff. He is with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. Getting back to what BA said last night about Brady returning, and then we will go back, try to eat some lunch, and we'll come back at 9 o'clock or earlier, depending on what happens with free agency. Tom Brady loves to play football as much as anyone I've ever been around. As Tom said, his place right now is on the football field. He is still playing at a championship level and was as productive as anyone in the league last season. We are ecstatic that he decided to continue. So there you go. And it has been an unbelievable whirlwind of emotions, from not knowing who the quarterback is to possibly being in on the Deshaun Watson of Baker Mayfield, not knowing who the quarterback is. And today, Tampa Bay fans, and last night, you know who the quarterback is of this team. It is none other than Tom Brady. They also get back Ryan Jensen. They lose Alex Kappa. We'll keep you abreast of the situation live here on the Evolution. Like I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports, and like and follow the Sports Web on YouTube. We'll read this last comment from Dave. I'm not worried. Godwin's deal will get done before they have to pay that franchise tag money. And going back to it, right? You know, Devontae Adams comes out and says, I'm not playing for the franchise tag. That's not Chris Godwin. That's why you got to get a deal done. And that's the reason why he's franchised in the first place. Not only professional on the field, but off the field. We'll be back later on at 9 o'clock on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television here on this lunchtime edition. Do three things, guys, and we will update you as soon as we can here on the Evolution. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. We'll see you on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television at 9 o'clock on I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports. Have a great day.
Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. St.